Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is MrAyrit. Normally I do headphone related content. This is a headphone review, but this is a more gaming catered headphone review because this is for Sony's kind of like PS5 headset. And I've had this headphone for a while, and I've just been putting it off doing this review because I don't like to do a lot of like negative reviews. I try to be honest, but if I really don't like a product, then I tend to just not review it. However, I feel justified in putting this review out there because I think there are a lot of people that maybe will consider buying this headset, and I want to urge you to not do that. So this is probably going to be the most negative review I've ever done. I loathe this headphone, and I loathe it for a lot of different reasons. I mean, number one is it just doesn't sound good. It's very low resolution. I don't think it images particularly well, which is exactly what it's supposed to do because it's supposed to be a gaming headphone. I feel like this is an instance where I fell into the marketing hype around the PS5. You know, I got one and I was like, I want to get all the PS5 stuff, you know, and I was really impressed with the PlayStation and the new, you know, DualSense controllers and things like that. And Sony had some good marketing hype around this headset in that, you know, it's wireless and they've got this new digital surround system, you know, and all this stuff. And it just didn't pan out for me. So let's look at this headphone. Let's look at what you get. And I'm going to delve into a little bit of like how it works, and ultimately kind of like why I just don't like it, right? So in the box, I mean, the box, I've got it here. It's very generic. I bought mine open box for maybe like $70 off Amazon. I think normally it retails for about $100. It comes with USB, like a longer USB to USB-C cable, and then a shorter one just for like charging purposes, right? Because this is mainly meant to be used wired. The battery life is fine. I don't know. I maybe only charged it once, but that's how little I've honestly used it. Mainly, though, you're going to be using this little guy, which is like a little dongle that plugs into your USB port on the PlayStation. And then, you know, as far as like it just working, it does work well. As far as like basically you just flip it on with this little switch down here. It immediately turns on, and then, you know, the PlayStation recognizes it, and, you know, you've got all sorts of little rockers and things here where you can turn on and off volume. You can change chat volume, you can change game volume, you know, you can mute the mic with this little button here, so you know whether you've got the mic muted or not. So it does a lot of things well, I think, as far as just like functionality. It just doesn't sound good. You know, it just doesn't sound good is what it comes down to. Now, the design, it's probably a love it or hate it type of thing. I don't really like it, but I mean, it fits, right? It fits the PS5 aesthetic, which I don't particularly like either, but, you know, it fits that same kind of design philosophy of like space age looking stuff. It's very plasticky feeling. It's got like a rubber suspension strap here, and I don't mind this suspension. I actually think the suspension strap system works pretty good, and I like those. Where it falls flat as far as comfort is with these pads, right? So if you look at this headphone, and this is part of why I load this headphone, is these pads look big and cushy, right? Well, it's a farce. So if you take these off, like, look at this. Look at how thin this actual pad is on this. So they've deliberately, and if I pull it here, like the pad is only about half that thick actually. So it looks like it's got a great big cushy pad on it, and it's fake. It's just a plastic ring inside of there with a little shallow pad on it. And I think that, honestly, more than anything else, ruined it for me, because I was like, man, that was a total... I just feel like they totally made it look like that, and they knew exactly what they were doing, right? They wanted people to look at it and go, oh, it's got these big cushy pads on it. well, then you put it on and it feels terrible. And, you know, look at how much, as far as the mounting of this, right? Look at how far out the driver sticks. And so even though it looks like it's got big cushy pads, they really aren't that deep once you actually like look at it in here. Like, it doesn't go in that deep. It's actually quite shallow to the point where your ears touch the inside of the drivers. And my ears don't stick out particularly far. I do hate that though. So maybe I'm a little more sensitive to it than other people, but like I couldn't even hardly stand using this headphone. And I feel like it was just false advertising, you know, the way they set these pads up. So that's really unfortunate. Now, had the sound been good enough, I would have just ripped these pads off and I would have adapted something to this ring to fit on here so I could use it and be comfortable. And I did, honestly, like, I just kind of took brainwave pads and like set them on there and used it like that for a little while. And I did much prefer that comfort-wise, but just I don't like it enough to actually come up with a permanent solution for that. The sound signature is very bright, which is maybe okay for a gaming headphone. I found it to be quite shouty, and the treble is just really crunchy, right? Like, it's not a very resolving headphone. So the combination of it being not very resolving but also very bright, it just is an extremely grating experience. Now, you can EQ this, and so they've got a little built-in EQ into like the system, and I'll cut to some footage of that here, which is cool, and you can tweak it reasonably, but because it's so low resolution that like any frequency response tweaking, while I could maybe get it to be better, it still just never sounded good. So yeah, I just feel like it's false advertising all around, right? I feel like the 3D surround sound sounds muffled on the PlayStation, so I don't use that with anything that I'm doing with it. I feel like the headset, while it functions well as far as connecting and things like that, it doesn't sound good, and it's not comfortable, and it's not built well. And all of this really frustrates me because Sony is like an audio company, right? Like, I mean, they do everything, but they make good headphones. So the big question in my mind is like, why can't I just use my Sony Bluetooth headphones with the PS5? And I think if they would have just even like allowed that to happen, I think all this would be okay. Then you'd have a choice. Do you want to use their PS5 gaming headset, or do you want to use like their XM4s? And if you had that flexibility and choice, then they'd be providing their clients and their consumers with, you know, options, and they wouldn't be trying to like force this atrocity of a headset onto them. And you know, I tried, and so it's funny because like the PS5 has Bluetooth, right? Like these controllers are like Bluetooth controllers, right? The DualSense is a Bluetooth controller. Like, I can hook this up to my computer, or I can hook it up to like my phone, but I can't hook a Bluetooth set of headphones up to my PS5. And I did experiment with like a little dongle that worked to a certain extent, but it never worked the way it should, and it just didn't work the way I wanted it to. So I'm just left, as much as I like my PS5 and enjoy gaming on it, as much as I like the DualSense controllers, I think all of it works really well, but like, this is just sad. It's a sad consumer money grab, I feel like. You know, you've got a headset here that, while the wireless function and stuff is cool, the sound and the build and the feel of it is like a $20 headphone or less, you know, like a $15 headphone. And I just wish it was better, or I wish it didn't exist at all. So I would definitely not recommend that you even try this. And normally if I don't like a product, I'm still like, if you get it for a good deal, give it a shot. This one is a total pass, I think. Like, just don't even look at it. One headphone that I will be reviewing here, and I'll be doing a little comparison, that I do think is a good value, is the Turtle Beach Recon 500s. I bought these things for, I think, $35 open box on Amazon, and this blows the Sony headset out of the water in comfort, in build quality, in sound quality, in imaging, in all of that. Easily recommend this if you're just looking for a closed back headset for your PS5, plugs into the controller, works fine, sounds good, right? No problems, is comfortable. Just all around like a decent product that's reasonably priced for what it is, okay? Unlike the Sony headset. So that's it. Probably the most negative review I've ever made, and hopefully will, be the most negative review I have ever made. So sorry that I'm not my normal positive self here, but yeah, I just can't recommend this product, and I don't want you to waste your money on it. So if you're into honest reviews of headphones and audio equipment and other things like that, consider subscribing to the channel. I try to put out a couple of videos a week, and I try to be as honest and transparent as possible. I currently fund most of my reviews myself, so you don't have to worry about any conflicts of interest there, although I do get sent products from time to time, but that doesn't influence my opinion one way or the other. Always trying to just put out honest stuff so you can make an informed decision, and just to hopefully help the community out. And that's what I'm about, and if you're into that, consider again subscribing and sticking around to see future videos. I thank you for your time, and appreciate you being here. I will hopefully see you in the next one.